We're going to kick off today's Get Psyc'd session with our 3 F words that we like to explore. So the first question is, how are you feeling at the moment?
How am I feeling? Well, today I feel pretty good today. I think because I went down and had a bit of a swim. You may see that my hair's still got a little bit of wetness in it. I went and had a bit of a swim to look after myself. But I have to say that, you know, I'm fluctuating just like everybody else. There's days where I get up and I'm so grateful to be in my little introverted bubble and be able to work from home and, you know, be able to spend more time in my practice in the morning and my yoga, my meditation, not have to rush into work. And there are days where I get up just like yesterday and it's hard for me to face the world. So, you know, those are the days where I really have to up my self-care and to ask myself how I've been operating, what I need to do to look after myself, maybe more of that gratitude practice and meditation that I do in the mornings, and just be really kind. You know, I think it's these are the times where we have to really notice you know, what's happening for us. Yeah.
True. And so what are you failing at the moment?
Failing at? Oh gosh, that word fail just brings up all of my insecurities. I think all my so I guess what I'm being challenged by, I guess, is my ability to keep to my set routine. I'm noticing that in a time where, you know, our home life and our work life, our social life is all kind of merging on one screen in one space. I'm having a difficult time switching off from work, and my inner workaholic kind of comes out to run the show a bit more. So I've really got to, I'm really being challenged in my ability to set boundaries for myself and really look after myself. So I've got even like a little chart across from my bed that says, you know, breakfast by 9:30, you know, lunch by 2, and just kind of keeping that regular routine is really important for me to stay well. Yeah.
I think a lot of us can relate to that at the moment. And our last word is, what are you finding out about yourself through this experience?
Yeah, well, I'm finding out that I guess I'm a lot more of a workaholic than what I thought, you know, and how much I attach that to my sense of identity, my level of productivity, and my sense of accomplishment, how wrapped up that is in who I feel I am. And so, you know, that's obviously something that's a theme in my life, and something that I'm obviously working on, you know, with my therapist and personally. But it is something that I'm noticing about myself more and more these days.
Amazing. Something else that I think a lot of us are really resonating with lots of us right now. So let's get deep and juicy into our topic of the day. For anyone who's just joined us, we've got the amazing Dafna here from the Indigo project, and she is going to help us explore a topic that is very pertinent to many of us at the moment, which is relationships. And why relationships might be feeling a little bit prickly, a little bit challenging in our lives right now. So what do you think, Dafna? Why do you think they are a bit challenging at the moment?
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm seeing is that, it's a great time of struggle and potential growth for relationships. So on an individual basis, we're all, you know, feeling the feels and going through our own different experiences. We've been dealing with a lot of change, unpredictability. You know, there might be some loss in there and a sense of, you know, disappointment. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on for us all. And so when you've got two people coming together, that can really spill out into the relationship. Yeah, so, you know, we're dealing with essentially two different personalities, two different ways of coping. And some of us might choose to run away from situations or want to avoid them. We don't want to distance ourselves from them. We want to escape them. We don't want to feel what's going on for us. Others might be right in the thick of it, you know, reading updates and wanting to talk about it, wanting to understand the situation more. We have different ways of navigating it, you know, what we feel like is an appropriate way to be in the world in this time, what is an appropriate way to interact with others. We also have different needs for closeness versus personal space. So all of that together can create a lot of challenges in relationships right now. And that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think interesting that you talk about personal space, because I think that's a big challenge for a lot of people at the moment. You know, people who are used to sort of going off and having their day at work and, you know, having their time at the gym or time spent with, you know, other friends and at activities that they would normally do separately are now kind of lumped together like 20.
That's right.
And maybe you're confronted by, you know, some different parts of your partner or housemates or whoever it is that your family, whoever you might be sort of cohabiting with at the moment, that don't really sit that well with you. What could you recommend?
That's right.
A bit, if you're feeling a bit bristly with you know, spending too much.
Oh, totally. I can totally empathize with that one. I think one of the key things here is to make sure that we understand first and foremost that we're all different and we have different ways of coping. We're all feeling a little bit fragile at the moment, or we've been moving through some, you know, some really through a lot of change. And it's really important to understand that that in order to pull through this time together, we need some level of respect for each other's way of dealing. We need to have some level of acceptance for difference here. And I guess the first question is really what we can do for ourselves to look after our own self-care, to look after how we're managing our stress levels. I think that we really can't control how other people behave, how other people respond to the situation and how they're feeling, but we can really look after the way we approach the situation, our responses, how we look after ourselves. And by setting a good example, we might actually influence our environment, our partnership, the people around us. I think that's very important. Another thing is, you know, I've been really noticing the importance of communication. So during these times, within couples and friendships and housemate relationships, communication and negotiation skills have really been, I guess, highlighted as important. And it's very important, I've found, to have those honest conversations, to really reflect on what we're individually going through, what our needs are during this time, and sitting down with our loved ones or sitting down with our housemates or friends and just having that chat, a heart-to-heart about what's going on for us and what we need, and trying to really listen to what's going on for them. Recognizing that also in every complaint there's kind of like a wish or a request, and trying to come at it from a really personal point of view, to set down some ground rules, maybe some plans, some routines, some check-ins, some time together, time apart, quality time together, quality time apart, some personal space. So all of that stuff is really relevant right now for relationships.
Communication is definitely a tricky one, I think, for a lot of, and in particular, you know, we often talk about being on this sort of like self journey, where we're kind of growing and getting to know ourselves a little better. But I imagine there's, you know, like lots of people in our community who may be sort of going on this journey, and maybe their partner is not really on the ride with them, and so there might be the extra challenge of, you know, wanting to be open and communicating needs, but worried that maybe you're going to be met with sort of a bit of a stonewalling, or, you know, anger, or even upset, like, you know, you're not wanting to upset someone. But so what would you kind of recommend for people like that, who feel like it's a little bit tricky to communicate at these times?
That's a really good question, and I'm getting that from, you know, a lot of my clients at the moment. I think that, you know, we are on different journeys. We may be on different pages, and it's important to notice where we're trying to, where we're coming across our partner's walls. Our partner's walls are up. And in those instances, those are the times where we can really take it upon ourselves to reflect on what we can change in our own lives, and perhaps look for other places for support, look for other people that we can talk to. I think that it is hard when we're living in close quarters at the moment, or we're living in separation, forced into separation. But it's a time where if we're not getting it from our partners, we need to, you know, we need to really be careful how much we're trying to outsource to people who can't really provide us with what we need. So looking for other avenues at the moment, in recognizing that our partners might be coping completely differently and are on a different journey. Yeah, and perhaps even going to see a therapist about it. I think that that's a really valid way of coping during this time, you know, seeking out therapy, doing your own journaling, really you know, going back to your own practices, perhaps some yoga or meditation or gratitude practices to get you through. Yeah.
Sure.
It's a hard time. It's a hard time when we're both on different journeys as well.
Absolutely. And I think we're also, you know, Esther Perel chats about this a lot, the conditioned to seek everything from a partner, like from one person, right? And it's just so much pressure.
That's right.
I think
yeah,
the first time really in our history of sort of humankind, we've put all this pressure and expectation on, you know, one person to be the answer.
That's right. Yeah.
I do have another question for you, which is, maybe some tips when it comes to communication and how we might be able to, you know, try to reach out and try to connect with, you know, not just our partner, but anyone in our lives, in an assertive but still compassionate way. So how we bring up some stuff that might be a little bit hard or uncomfortable, but sort of in the most delicate yet forward way possible.
Yeah. Well, there's a great method called NVC, nonviolent communication, that I often recommend to clients. You know, there's a lot of research on the fact that NVC can help us in that communication, in talking about firstly what our needs are. Sorry, I'll go back. I'll rewind on that a little bit. The structure for NVC is reflecting first and foremost on what it is we're feeling, right? And expressing that in a non-judgmental way. So rather than saying, you know, I feel when you do this, it hurts me, just saying I feel hurt, you know, coming to that non-judgmental place of I feel hurt, and then expressing what the need is around that feeling. So noticing, okay, I feel hurt when you don't listen to what I'm saying, you know, when you don't listen to me when you're cooking or something like that. I feel hurt when you don't listen to me when you're cooking. And what I'm noticing that I need, so this is a structure in MVC, what I'm noticing that I need is more quality time with you, more quality time where our phones are off, where we can look each other in the eye and really have honest conversations.
You can
really talk about our day.
Spatula.
That's right. That's right. Put down your spatula and actually talk to me. Get out of doing mode and just be with me. So, and then the last part of that formula is, and are you willing to do that? Are you willing to help me out here? Are we able to find some of that quality time, because I'm feeling that that's missing in my life and it's hurting me? So it's that formula, the NVC formula of what you're feeling without judgment of the other person, what you need, what you're noticing you need, and perhaps why you need it, because for me it's important that, we remain close in our partnership, that we feel intimacy. And the third thing is what you'd like to request, you know. And it may be a no. Your partner may say, look, I'm sorry, darling, I just don't have the time this week. And then that's the work of sitting with yourself and asking, you know, how can I look after myself? How can I self-soothe? How can I hug the part of me that's hurting? So NVC is very helpful. I also have to highlight that in my research on couples, the Gottman Institute has some really great tips. They've done over 40 years of research in this space. And what they found is that our conflict, our ability to resolve conflict actually depends upon our ability to turn towards each other on a daily basis in little ways. So just noticing when your partner is looking for connection, noticing what it is you do to connect. It might be that your partner it might be a moment where your partner asks, you know, hey, baby, can you just have a look at the screen about this thing that I'm looking at? Or, you know, it might be a moment where you tell them about your day. Just these little ways that we try to connect to our partners is really important for us to notice. And when we're interested, when we approach our partners with love and come towards them on a regular daily basis, our conflicts become, I guess, less intense. They also, it feels like when we come into conflict, there's more, we want to repair the conflict more. We feel like the relationship is worth it. We give our partner the benefit of the doubt. You know, so what we do, how we fill up our love tank when we're not in conflict is very important for actually those times where we come into conflict and we have tension in the relationship.
Absolutely. Well, that was awesome. What amazing tips to take away. Because obviously we all have to deal with other people in our lives, whether it's our partners, whether it's our kids, whether it's our parents, our friends, our housemates, visits around us. You know, we're not really doing this whole life thing on our own. So it's always great to have amazing tips and strategies so that we can have these better relationships, you know, not only with other people, but also with ourselves. And I guess the rules apply when we're trying to communicate with ourselves and be gentle and compassionate and listen to what our own needs are too. So thank you.
That's where it starts.
And yeah, that's where it starts, and that's a whole other chat, I think, for you and me.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Ash,
for joining us this morning. It's been such a pleasure having you. And we're going to save this chat, pop it up on our Instagram so people can watch. I've got like disco ball reflectors in my
it's great. I've got like grass and you've got disco ball. We're like in completely different zones.
We are. Use them and have some sort of garden rave next time, maybe.
That's right.